Okay, so can everyone see up there? Yeah. We're going to talk about reflection partners, this strange thing that we have here at the Academy. Like I've said to you guys before, as far as I'm aware, I don't know of any other institutions that use this reflection partner thing, so it's kind of unique to here. So I've kind of developed some strategies about how we can use it so that it's not just a thing that's tacked on at the end of your exams, that you actually incorporate it. And then also, you can see how that you can actually use this throughout your research, that it's not something that's just tacked on at the very, very end for an exam, but actually something you can integrate in your artistic research. So, there were a few people who commented after the last seminar that how nerdy I was, so I've tried to make it even nerdier. So you'll see lots of very nerdy references in my presentation today. So I think also just the comments on this. So this is something from an image from The Lord of the Rings. You know, it's Frodo and Sam looking into Galadriel's mirror. This is something I've said to you guys many times before. Reflection is not something you can do by yourself. You need others and you need tools to do it. We can't see ourselves until we have something that actually helps to reflect. So, and this is what Galadriel's doing in the story here. She's showing and helping them see themselves in different perspectives, future selves, possible future selves. So it fits with the theme for today. What is a reflection partner? It's someone who can help you to dig deeper into your research, make you aware of aspects of your research that maybe you weren't aware of. I want to say that we talk about reflection partners as another self, as another person, but you can also be your own reflection partner as well through role play, and we'll talk about that through these different roles that I have talked about here. So, just want to zoom out before we go into it. A central theme of artistic research is, or a central problem of artistic research is this question of subjectivity, right? We're really the only field that really totally embraces the idea that subjectivity is a central part of research. But the ethical issue with that is are we just ourselves? Can we just pretend that we're ourselves and just say, well, whatever I say is this is the solipsism danger that I've talked about before. So this is a great quote I found. So it's this thing about hidden bias, right? And she's talking here about how it happens in your own practice and how you may not be aware of your own biases. And so what we want to do in artistic research is make sure that we're not missing something and that we have something to shine a light on to reveal our subjectivity. So it's actually, we don't want to hide our subjectivity and say, no, this is the way things are. We want to say, well, this is the way I think of this because of this, and it help us to be able to be more objective about our subjectivity. So this thing, making the familiar unfamiliar, I think this is a nice central theme we can use in artistic research. Another thing I just want to share with you guys, this is a book that came out last year by Falk Hübner on methodology and research design. And he talks a lot about ethics as a central thing, and this is where I got the quote, was from this book. I've shared this on the Discord for those of you guys who are on there. It's free online to read. I highly recommend checking it out. It's really down to earth, easy to read, and helpful. No, this is something that's a quote that I found that through him, right? His name is Falk Hübner. He's also in the slides. I'll have him listed later on. Right here. So this is similar. This is basically what I was just saying, right? We want to make our own perspective explicit, right? And to show where we might have possible bias. It's fine to have bias, but we want to know what our bias is and be able to qualify that bias and explain where that's coming from. I think this thing here, due to the entanglement of the artist with their work, this subjectivity cannot be extracted from the artistic research process, yet at the same time it needs to be accompanied by critical reflexivity, making one's own practice and position explicit. So this also, he doesn't really talk about this word so much, but it's the word I've talked to you guys about a bunch, context. This is what we use our context for, right? Is to help to make our own subjectivity explicit, to show where we're coming from, to show and to challenge our own subjectivities, to challenge our biases, and to learn and to grow through that process. So even though context is not the theme for today, it's kind of an underlying theme with all this stuff, because that's really the point of all these exercises we're going to be talking about today. So with reflection partners, I've divided this up into, there's basically two main functions you can look at it from overall. One is it's practical, right? It's just, okay, are you doing all the basic stuff you need to do? And this is the way I've seen people use this on exams so far a lot, is someone who's just there to make sure, oh, did you remember to talk about this? Did you remember to talk about that? We got to make sure we have all these things taken care of. So it's totally legit, right? Practical stuff. And that's also, you'll see, when I've talked with you guys in our meetings, I'm also a reflection partner for you guys. When we have our meetings, I'm oftentimes doing that. Hey, are you taking care of this? Are you taking care of your context? Are you aware of your aesthetics? These kinds of things. So that's a very valid and useful purpose of a reflection partner. But we can also look at it from the artistic side, right? That you can actually use the reflection partner to challenge the artistic side of things. Not just, oh, are we touching all our bases, but actually think of it, well, as creators, how can we use other people to help us be creative? That will come. And if it doesn't come later, then you can ask again. So I've divided this up into 7 different roles. These are just my divisions. These didn't come from on high somewhere. This is just some stuff I came up with. You could divide it up lots of different ways. So just to say that this is just one way of looking at it. So this is this first one, this practical thing, the housekeeper. This is someone who's there just making you check all the boxes. Okay. And I give these little examples of little things it could be. Like, okay, oh yeah, they forgot the results. Can you tell us about the results of your research? Pretty simple, right? So this is where we get into the roles that are a little more interesting. So disciplinary challenger. So this is someone who is inside of your field, working within the same discipline that you're working in. Now, we're multidisciplinary researchers. We have to be. We're musicians, but we're also we're having to deal with our art from other angles. So we're all going to be having multiple roles inside of ourselves. So there's multiple disciplines. So some of us may be a composer, like a technical instrument builder, and an artist all at once. So these are all different disciplines we can be challenged from within. So this is when you have we take on a role, the reflection partner takes on a role within the discipline and asks questions that are challenging, that maybe, may even you have a little edge to them, right? It's like, well, in our field, we tend to do this. Why did your research not address that? And it can be like that. These are good kinds of things because it really helps us to be sharp and awake and, I didn't think about that, or, oh, no, that's right, I have it. It's actually here. I didn't put it into this thing, but it's here. So this is a good thing that keeps us fresh. It keeps us strong. Yeah. And I use the metaphor here with chess grandmasters, playing. Chess grandmasters, of course, it's about money and prestige and all this stuff. But when you actually go into that world, I mean, they're after the games, they're discussing, okay, well, you should have done this, or oh yeah, I should have done this. I mean, it's about the craft in the field, right? And they're sitting there challenging. That's what it's all about. When someone does something, has an innovation in a game, that's what it's there for. It's hey, we're trying to further the field here. Interdisciplinary challengers are people who come from outside of your field, from a whole other different field, and then challenge your field. So this could be, because this is also tucks into these biases, right? We can have blind spots inside of a whole field can have blind spots, right? something that I'm not going to give an example right now, but it could be that you have a field where they say, well, we've been doing this the whole time. You're acting like this is some new thing, but we've been doing this for hundreds of years in our fields. Why haven't you been doing that? Or why is this new? And that can help to reflect on the field and help to give some new perspective on the field and help you be able to also maybe discover that maybe your understanding of your own field was lacking. Maybe there has been those things happening, you just weren't aware of it. So it can help to uncover some things that weren't visible to you, and to expand your subjectivity, right? Yes, so in terms of these roles, so you can just put on these roles yourselves. You can imagine these roles. I've done this with a few of you in some of our meetings. You're going to say, well, I'm going to take on a role. I'm going to take on the role of a filmmaker right now I've done this, right, with some of you guys. Just take, okay, well, what would a filmmaker have to say about your work, I mean, from a filmmaker's perspective, we want to do this, and there's an angle of your research. It seems it's not really meeting the standards inside of our world. Why can't you, shouldn't you come up to that level? So you can use, this is just some examples, right? I threw out there just a whole bunch of stuff, but it's anything you can imagine, and it helps to get us outside of our own fields. It helps us to imagine. Why, that we're not just sitting in this thing of like, as musicians, that we're sitting there with a bunch of notes and this is really cool, this sound, but why? Who cares? Why is this important? It helps us to bring it to another level, right, where it's actually relevant to maybe somebody who's not a musician, or not just yourself. Disciplinary collaborator, this is someone who's more kind of supportive inside of the field. So this is someone who's still inside of your field and saying, oh, that's really cool, I hadn't thought about that. What about this? And you have more of a discussion here where you're just sort of questioning and inspired. There's a difference, there's a kind of a difference in terms of attitude, right? The challenger is more, hey, let's push this. The collaborator is much more supportive. And both these roles are very important. And I think it's important to be able to be familiar with both of them, to be able to be stronger and more sharp when you're playing these roles. The interdisciplinary collaborator is someone who's coming from another field and is trying to collaborate. A lot of you guys, some of you guys may be even doing this in your projects, right? Where you're actually part of your research is working with other people in other fields. And so that kind of thing, those kind of discussions you may be having in your research, that's an interdisciplinary collaborator, where they're sitting there sharing some of their things and maybe helping you to learn something new. And then finally, we have the deep questioner. So this is someone who's really trying to really bring it out into a broader perspective and ask bigger questions about what the research is all about. And where we're not necessarily talking about small details, but we're talking about big discussions, ethical issues, meaning of life kind of questions, right? These are really cool questions to have because there's also, they don't necessarily need to have, they're not going to be able to be answered immediately, oftentimes, right? You're not going to be able to just say, I have the answer to this. It's totally fine in artistic research to leave these open ends, things that are unanswered. That's great because that means there's a chance for someone else to hop onto that. That's what's exciting, right? Is when we're opening up our research for other people to jump into, and we're opening new pathways for others to follow. Shouldn't be a closed thing that we just, it's done and no one else can come and touch this. There's nothing else to say. We actually want to open up pathways. So this is a great opportunity to open things up for lots of people to have interest in what you're doing. And a speculative partner, this is one who maybe tries to early on in the research, this can be the kind of thing, this is the kind of thing I've done in the very beginnings, right, when we first talk about what your projects are. Sometimes I play this role and get you guys to think, what if you did it this way? Like totally rethinking your whole project. and so that's the thing. But what if you change this thing? At the end of your project can also be a thing where it can be exciting when you're done and you feel like, okay, I've researched all this stuff, and someone comes in and says, well, what if you had done this? Oh, great, that's my next project. That's the next thing I'm going to do. So it can be an inspiring thing, and it can be, but it could also be something, I'm not interested in that, but that's great for somebody else to take up that. So it plays into this thing of opening up the research to other fields. So, using the reflection partner for your exam. We've talked before about how to do this, if they should be, everything should be scripted or not. I think you want to have a mix, and I've done that today also. I have some things that are scripted, and I have some things that are going to be improvised. I think it's good to be able to feel that freedom to improvise, that it's not this stilted performance, that everything is just set in stone, that you actually feel that you're open, that the research is open, and it's an open discussion happening there. I would highly recommend that. Let's put it that way. So, yes, that's it for that. Questions before we move on?